Let's look at the developer packet. This is where we like to say that the instructional designer that you are working with will now become your new best friend by providing support, guidance, and expertise throughout the design process. An email from your instructional designer has been sent to you, including a link to a packet of Google Documents. This packet includes all of the essential documents to help you with the course development process. This packet includes policies, standards, best practices, planning tools, consent forms, and instructional guidelines tailored to support your online and in-person teaching needs. We've already covered policies 250 and 252 and the Quality Matters standards. The three documents that I'm going to focus on now are the Online Instructor Best Practices, Center for Teaching, Learning, and Online Education Image Consent and Release Form, and the Online Development MOU. The remaining documents will be discussed later in the training. So now let's look at the best practices for online instructors. The best practice document helps to engage and support your students effectively throughout the course. I will highlight a few key points to give you an idea of best practices. First, let's start with communication. It's important to send out a welcome message to your students before the course begins. This message should include your contact information, textbook requirements, and a copy of the course syllabus. Make sure that the message is sent to the student's email address, since students will not have access to the course site before it officially opens. Make sure that all activities in your course have clear opening and due dates that align with the current term and the module and week dates. This helps students stay on track and know what is expected of them. A best practice is to avoid opening all modules at the same time. This approach helps keep students focused and prevents them from feeling overwhelmed by too much information at once. Instead, scaffold the release of modules by providing access to one module per week. Engage with students multiple times during the first week of the term, and then weekly throughout the remainder of the course. Be available on days when assignments are due to assist students with any last-minute questions. Providing timely feedback is crucial. Aim to return graded assignments within a week and participate actively in discussion boards, ensuring that every student receives feedback over a 2-week period. Keep your gradebook updated and collaborate with a Sakai administrator to support any student with special accommodations. This helps students understand their progress and how they can improve. Encourage students to complete the course evaluation at the end of the term and use their feedback to make necessary improvements for future courses. These are just a few examples of the best practices outlined in the document. I encourage you to take a closer look at the document and consider how you can integrate these practices into your own online courses. By following these best practices, you can create a more engaging and supportive online learning environment for your students, ultimately leading to better outcomes for everyone involved. Now let's look at the image consent and release form. The image consent and release form is crucial because it obtains clear consent and establishes legal protections for using participants' recordings in an online course development. Any identifiable person must complete an image consent and release form. Using someone's picture without their consent can cause legal and ethical issues, especially in an online course. This policy applies to any video, photographs, and audio, including narrated PowerPoints. If you are using guest speakers in your course, the guest speaker must complete the consent form for their content to be used. The participant also releases West Liberty University from liability related to the recordings and acknowledges that they will not receive any compensation for their participation. Additionally, the form specifies that the recordings will be co-owned by West Liberty University and the content creator. The content creator can take the content with them when they leave. The content will be exported in a format that only another learning management system can understand. If a faculty member leaves the university or becomes deceased, then West Liberty University can still use the recorded content. Lastly, the form needs to be signed by the participants themselves if they are 18 years or older. If the participants are under 18 years of age, their parent or legal guardian must also sign the form to provide consent. Now that you had an overview of the best practices document and the image consent and release form, let's look at the MOU. Before starting course development, the MOU must be signed and on file with the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Online Education. The MOU outlines essential key elements, including the use of the current online course template, adherence to West Liberty University's online best practices, and meet specific program department content requirements. Faculty must provide all necessary course materials to their instructional designer and maintain regular communication throughout the development process. If you plan to use publisher content, please let your instructional designer know. We try to avoid using publisher content because it often becomes unavailable quickly, forcing us to refresh the course after only a few offerings. Our goal is to create courses with longevity. Appropriate publisher content includes test banks, case studies, and review questions. Key benchmarks must be met to ensure continued development, and compensation is based on completion and adherence to the policy guidelines. The course must undergo a successful internal Quality Matters review by the Center of Teaching, Learning, and Online Education before it can be delivered to students. Additionally, faculty must complete or have completed the Hawley course to be qualified to teach online. The MOU emphasizes the importance of collaboration, timely communication, and adherence to quality standards to ensure a successful online course development process. When filling out the MOU, please ensure you include the course number being developed and specify the length of the course in terms of the number of weeks it will be offered. If two different formats are required, such as a 16-week version and an 8-week version, please state that clearly on the MOU. We need to know the number of credits students will receive for taking the course and whether the course falls into the category of a new course or a refresh course. If it is a refresh course, please provide an estimate of the percentage of content that needs to be changed. It is important to specify the term when the course will first be delivered to ensure the development is completed on time and aligns with the scheduled dates. Now take a few minutes to review the best practices document, the image consent and release form, and the MOU. After reviewing the forms, fill out the MOU and image consent and release form and upload those using the provided assignment link. These documents must be uploaded before continuing with the training.